You are listening to the Mesa Arts Center podcast. On this episode of the Mesa Arts Center podcast, we sit down with Los Angeles-based Japanese artist Kazuki for his exhibit, Breaking the Silence III, that is on display here at the Mesa Contemporary Art Museum. Kazuki's exhibit is an expression of his life living with bipolar disorder and his goal of bringing awareness to the topic of suicide prevention. Thank you for listening to the Mesa Arts Center podcast. We hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to the Mesa Arts Center podcast. I am your host, Tomas J. Stanton, and I am here with a remarkable artist, Kazuki. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I love when people are genuinely excited about this process, and so because to me, conversations are what make the world go round, right? That's how we grow as humans. That's how we learn things and discover new adventures. And so I really love this opportunity. And so thank you for being here. You came in from Los Angeles, which is where you currently are residing. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, how can I not be excited? Your studio is so clean and awesome looking, so
thank you. Yeah, the Mesa Arts Center is a phenomenal institution, and this is one of our newer endeavors. We call this the Co-Lab, Connecting Community Story Lab, and podcasts are a way to extend the conversation of all the amazing things that are going on here, and that's why you're sitting across from me, because you have an exhibit that will be opening in the Mesa Contemporary Art Museum here in a couple of days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has been open, but it's going to be there for another round of exhibit, and it's going to be there until January of 2026.
Yes, and I can't wait to talk to you about this exhibit because I think it holds something near and dear to my heart, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it has a lot to do with suicide prevention, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and so I can't wait to dive into that, not in a weird way, suicide is a really dark thing, but I think it's a very important thing that we discuss, and I don't know if you know this, but did you know September is National Suicide Prevention Month?
Yes, I was told that.
Okay, yeah, right? So it's kind of like a very serendipitous experience here. But before we get into all that, I want to learn a little bit about kind of like how you got to where you are now. So where did you grow up?
Absolutely. So I grew up coming from Japanese parents.
Okay.
I was born in Hong Kong, and I was raised in a small bubble of Japanese community in Hong Kong, speaking Japanese amongst people who speak Cantonese. So I grew up there mostly. I was there until I was 16 years old, and then my whole family moved to Bangkok, Thailand, which is a little bit hotter in temperature, slower paced than Hong Kong, a lot more space than Hong Kong, but still, speaking another foreign language was kind of what I grew up with. So everybody else spoke Thai. And I went to high school in Bangkok, and around then, towards the later years of us staying in Hong Kong, I started learning English because I saw myself not going back to Japan because my family, my dad is he worked for different companies that manufacture home appliances. So I saw my family just staying and living outside of Japan, where all my family and relatives they live in Japan. But I started learning how to speak English when I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
And so I continued to learn English in Thailand. I went to an American curriculum school.
Okay.
And so all my teachers were from the States or sometimes Canada. So I spoke English in Thailand. Yeah.
Wow. So that's how your family wound up moving away from Japan, was because of your dad's work?
Yeah, I think he saw it more. I think he was just interested and curious and just wanted to live outside of Japan. I think that was his initial move out of Japan. But he also when he was in college, he started to learn English, and he went to university in Florida.
Oh,
And
okay.
so yeah, he wanted to. He always dreamt about living outside of Japan, and so
Yeah.
he made that dream come true. And during my childhood, my family we lived in Asia, outside of Japan. But yeah, my dad is still in Thailand, and
Wow.
yeah, running a business there. And so I'm also a small business owner, local business owner in LA. So, I talk to him and kind of get advice from him that way.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
entrepreneurial experience is
Yeah.
definitely not for the weak, that's for sure.
Yeah, even if the field is different, a lot of things apply. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I talk to him often.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your dad kind of instilled some things early on in your life that were rooted in kind of like curiosity, right? Like learning new cultures and moving. And do you think that kind of had an impact in your creative endeavors?
Yeah, I think so. You put it out like very nicely. So I'm kind of understanding it now. I
Yeah.
feel like, but yeah, looking back, I feel like I got so much from my family, even though they had no knowledge of being in the field of art. Nobody in my family is artist or knew much about the art world. The initial interest and spark was within me
Yeah.
to be in the art world, but my dad's always been the type of person who would push forward and come over your fear and follow the curiosity type person. So I do feel like I followed his footsteps in that way.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. Sounds like your dad's a pretty cool individual.
He was a scary figure
Oh,
growing up,
really?
but he's definitely like the coolest.
Very, very strict in the sense of like, what ways was he scary?
I think he just was, strict in certain things, and so which I really appreciate, like manners and things like that, and being punctual, and because we lived in Hong Kong, and so everything is business oriented, and because he was very involved and much in the business world, so certain things had to be a certain way in our family. And I think I'm very like structured in that way, approaching people and just like like customers, that kind of stuff. And so
Yeah, I think so I'm a father. You're also a father. You have two young children, right? I think one of the roles as a father that I take very seriously is kind of that structure, right? Teaching young people, specifically your kids, the importance of being punctual and being respectful, and like those things can transition into so many different areas of adulthood. And so shout out to your dad. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aw, he's gonna love that.
I love it. I love dads, man. I
that's
think it's
cool.
because I am a dad.
How old is your kid?
So
Don't
I
mind me
have
asking.
no, not at all. I have a 9-year-old. That's my youngest, and then I have a 17-year-old son and a soon-to-be 21-year-old daughter. So
Wow.
so I have a little bit of a spectrum,
Congrats.
right? Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sounds beautiful.
My two older kids, Jose is my 17-year-old. He is just went to South Dakota on a football scholarship. So
Wow.
he's left the nest,
Yeah.
and he's out there exploring what it is to be kind of independent. And then my daughter is going to university out here in Arizona. She's interested in interior design and business, so she kind of has a little bit of that artistic spark to her. And then our youngest kid is just living his best life. He gets the best of all the world. So and then your kids, you said they are 3 and 5?
Yeah, 5-year-old
Yeah.
daughter, 3-year-old son.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you love being a dad?
I love every aspect of it.
Yeah.
It just made my life more colorful and energetic. And I worked with glass, and so mainly, and so I blow glass for a living.
Okay.
my work, creating my work and other people's work, like clients, and doing custom jobs. And every time I'm blowing glass, I feel like having kids just made me a better glass blower because I do have that pressure.
Yeah.
I can't drop that piece.
It's so true. Yeah. There's no greater pressure than showing up as a parent.
It's a good kind of pressure.
Oh yeah.
Just looking forward to going home and spending that quality time with the family, and it just makes everything so good.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. So, all right. So your early life is kind of bouncing around from different places and learning different languages and culture. Where did you go to university at?
So I went to University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Okay.
That's on Oahu in Honolulu.
Yeah.
And best place to learn glass or do art.
Bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
So close to the ocean, the community is laid back, and weather is so nice always. So that's where I started, and until then, until I went to Hawaii, I've never done or seen glass live.
Oh,
before.
really?
Yeah, it was just a hunch that I had, and I wanted to see if I could. I don't know, see if it takes off.
Yeah,
I
for
wanted
sure.
to try glass, and I definitely grew up being comfortable in an art class.
Okay.
I used to be, I am still like very, an introvert, and not confident in a lot of things. But then I was very comfortable in art classes, and so that's my main reason for wanting to pursue the field of art.
Okay.
But I saw glass blowing on TV one time, and then
really
I said,
on
maybe this is
TV.
it.
That's what. Oh my gosh, that's cool.
That was it.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Just
really
follow
cool.
your gut feeling, and I'm here now.
Yeah.
And so I've been very much like a follow your gut feeling type person, and at that point it doesn't make sense. I remember telling my high school counselor I wanted to be a glass blower or a farmer, and I just remember the look on his face.
That's probably not what they want to hear you say. Shout out to counselors, but I think that as an individual who's worked in the arts and made a career, I remember early on, I used to work at Arizona State University in the film, dance, and theater department. Mm-hmm. I was taking classes and I was working there. And one of my jobs was to give tours to incoming students or prospective or I don't know what that word is. Soon to be, or students who are interested in being. Yeah, right. Uh-huh. And their parents always seemed very angry about the idea of their child pursuing a education in the arts, right? Mm-hmm. And it's tough because I can understand where that comes from, but I often try to just like paint the picture that the arts is one of the most essential, I think, things that you can learn because it promotes creativity, it promotes curiosity, and those skills will transfer into any career that you choose, right? And so I think everyone should have a little bit of a baseline of arts education, but, we're still working to get there in society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you go to the university in Hawaii. You start your glass blowing kind of education. When do you feel like this is definitely the right choice for me?
Okay, so it didn't take off immediately. I live in California. I live in Los Angeles now, and after graduating from college in Hawaii, I bussed tables or, did other,
odds and end jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
But, as a glass artist, it's really hard to blow glass by yourself. Mm-hmm. There needs to be another person who's, blowing air into the pipe while the glass blower is shaping from the outside. Okay,
all right. So it's very collaborative.
It's very collaborative. Yes, and it's very much like teamwork that happens. So I got into I got a job as an assistant at this for this one glass artist down in LA, and that led to another job, and
Yeah.
then
Start kind of
it
stacking
started
up. Yeah.
stacking up until I was working as an assistant. It was like hard to find time off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was working for a lot of different artists, being an assistant.
Yeah.
And then at that point, because it was a job that requires kind of a tough physical labor,
Yeah.
I started to think and kind of push myself further. I think the first thing I did was to try to allow myself to have some time off,
Okay.
which led to kind of some mental freedom and the ability to kind of push forward in the direction that I wanted to go to, which
Okay.
ended up getting some clients of my own, and then and so I did, you know, make that jump of becoming an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that to me is one of the most important parts of becoming a successful anything, but definitely in the arts, is that apprenticeship, right? Or being an assistant, or helping someone who is established and learning from them. And it's interesting. I don't know if you experienced this, but I feel like that's kind of a lost art, is the apprenticeship or the assistant role. I think a lot of people want to just jump right into like, I'm a professional now, and there's so much that you can only learn from putting yourself in those situations. And so, like, do you think that was one of the best things that could happen to your career, is like being in that space where you were opening yourself up? It's almost like you humble yourself, right? You're humbling yourself to learn from somebody else. Which takes a certain level of patience, and like you have to check your ego. I'm just talking mostly about myself here, but do you think that was an important part of your journey?
I think yeah, you're right on point. Really love a couple things that you said, but I feel like I still am an apprentice in a way,
Yeah.
because the moment you think that you got it, you got a handle of it, then
Yeah.
I think that's a sign of stop growth.
Yeah.
And so I like the mentality that, I'm always a student and I always will be.
Yes.
And I think that having just inspirational artists and just looking up to people who are like, that do amazing work and have amazing work ethics, and maybe you're not able to be physically close to that person because that person is so high up in the field, but you can still kind of see their mannerism from being far away from the and watching the demo, or just being close by, and just seeing their career and how successful he is, and how how they are so humble.
Yeah.
And I just started noticing, like, the people who I want to be are people who are really humble.
Yeah.
And I think there is a relationship that I noticed, that if you keep humble, then you're gonna keep learning, because that means you're not stopping.
Yeah, you're opening yourself up to the infinite possibilities of creativity.
Yeah.
And humility is, I think being an artist is actually the space where I'm reminded to be humble, because if not, you will get humbled in a way, right? And but once you kind of adopt that mindset that there's an infinite like possibilities here, and there's no way you can ever completely be an expert at one particular thing, right? You continue to grow every day, So I love that mentality,
Yeah, there's a lot of aspects of glassblowing that is kind of like a performance. And so there is a lot of ego that's being thrown around.
I bet.
And it doesn't work with me sometimes.
Yeah.
But I did start out as an assistant, and I think even when you're an assistant or a student, there is certain amount of ego with every little piece of success that you gain. there's a little bit of gain in
Yeah.
that, ego.
Yeah, and ego's
So
not terrible.
it's not
It's
terrible.
when you let it kind of become your identity, right?
Yeah, you're right.
It's almost like I think a lot about imposter syndrome, and as an artist, sometimes we're very fortunate to be put in spaces that are prestigious, right? You know, like I'm a performance artist, so like I think being on a big stage in front of a big audience, not everybody gets that experience, and it's easy to let that kind of like trick you to think like, oh, I'm better than somebody else. And you know, I've had this experience where I've felt that way, and then I was immediately humbled by God, by the universe, whatever, you know, and so it reminds me to always, you know, maintain that level of humility, you know, keep my ego at check, like have a conversation with the ego, you know, but don't let it come into the real world.
It's a balance.
It is a balance. Yeah. So now you are in your professional, I'm going to call you a professional, even though you say you're still like the apprentice. And you are one of the featured artists here at the Mesa Contemporary Art Museum. Like, how does that feel?
I am just so thankful and grateful, and everybody here at the museum, the team here has been so patient with me.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just nothing but gratefulness, and I think that because I speak about mental health and I live with bipolar disorder, and so I openly speak about that in different public speaking opportunities that I get to have. But I feel like I need to have something visual that people can see that acts as a marker of where I've been.
Yeah.
Because mental health is so, in my mind, it's so confusing to understand, and it's associated with, there's a certain amount of stigma that's associated with it. And so I have taken my career and mental health, you know, living with mental health has helped me in certain times. And also at the same time, I feel like I do make sure I work hard. And so it's really a privilege to be able to showcase my work in such a beautiful and in a, you know, that big of a scale.
Yeah.
And my idea manifests itself in this physical space.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love
My
it. I wanna talk a little bit, if you're open. You mentioned that you've dealt with bipolar. When did you discover that? I don't even know what you call. I hate calling it an issue, right? But like, how would you categorize what you experienced through bipolar?
Yeah, it is a type of mental illness.
Yeah.
I don't like the word illness, but I feel like we're equipped with a superpower.
Yeah.
I like to stay on the positive side of things.
Yeah, of course.
And I've always been that way. But I was diagnosed with type 2 bipolar disorder when I was a student in Hawaii.
Okay.
And so I think, you know, going in and going out to Hawaii on my own and figuring out as I was in the early 20s, like figuring out my time schedule and how to do time management by myself, and also just like pushing forward and finishing up projects and staying up overnight and stuff like
Pushing yourself to the max.
to the max. Yeah. So that actually took a toll, and I started seeking professional help. And so going to therapy, and that really was like life-changing, and it made me learn about depression and a lot of other things related to myself. And so there are lots of things, you know, that I learned that I feel now I feel like I'm pretty confident and comfortable with who I am. But before I knew nothing about depression, or, you know, coming from an Asian background, we rarely talked about depression, or I actually didn't really know too much about depression and what that meant. And so even though that was a word that I heard, but yeah, so really learning about different subjects, different things, lifestyle skills or coping mechanisms that's revolving around depression and living with bipolar disorder through therapy. That was like really empowering.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was around. It was when I was a student that I got diagnosed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like having gone through, you know, a pretty vigorous academic journey, there's a lot of pressure. My wife is a nurse, and I see that she deals with a lot of like mental exhaustion that leads to depression, and, you know, like the high intensity of the medical field. And, you know, and I think that in university, there is a high pressure, especially for young people who are just experiencing it for the first time. They're out on their own, you know, they have all this independence, but they have all this responsibility, and it'll wear you down. And so, you know, like, good for you that you identified it early on. And now you've taken that experience and you've kind of leveraged it into your expression, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So like, was it just an organic kind of idea, or like an intentional idea? Like, how did you create the piece that is on exhibit in the museum?
Yeah, so I've been making work related to, I think, self-expression. And I think that is rooted back to my upbringing, where language has always been, there's been an issue, like barrier.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to, you know, growing up, I wasn't able to like deeply have conversation with, you know, just anybody.
Yeah.
Whether when I wanted to, I wanted to talk to people, and so naturally, I think when I went in the field of arts, I think it was that journey was natural. Like, I just liked art, and then that art just became language in my in my system. I think the way I express, and so it really helps me, you know, keeps helping me with my mental health personally. But anyway, how I got here, I think it's just a repetition of chasing the things that I really want to do, and setting up new goals, and then learning new techniques. And also, I think what's important is overcoming a certain amount of fear each time.
Yes.
Whether it was the first time I opened up about my diagnosis with bipolar disorder, and there was an internship that I did in Star, North Carolina.
Okay.
And there was a glass facility there. I got to make work there, and I actually made the first Breaking the Silence installation, which is the same series of installation that's at the Mesa Contemporary Arts right now. But that was in 2015.
Wow.
So
that long ago.
Yes.
Okay.
And this installation that's in the Mesa Contemporary Arts Museum is that it involves several glass vessels that eventually gets filled with water. And these ones don't tip over and collapse. But the one that I made in 2015, it was a same kind of format with vessel on a table with a rain feature that filled the water gradually over the course of 90 minutes. I filmed this,
I saw the video.
Yeah, you did?
Online.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
thank
really
you.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was different was that they all collapsed at the end and they broke.
Yeah.
And they actually made like violent shatter, and a few pieces took the other pieces that were nearby. And so that was the first suicide prevention piece that I made, which still exists in the form of video, and through like the public speaking engagements, I share that. And that seems to be kind of where my pivotal moment in my life, where I really overcame some of my fear and about opening up about my diagnosis with bipolar disorder, and also my really generous younger brother who this experience of helping to prevent suicide
Okay.
came from my experience of helping my younger brother, and he
Wow.
continues to be strong and be healthy and give me the opportunity to speak about this experience through my
Wow.
arts.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That
So
really is.
big shout out to
Big shout out to
my
the brother. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like you have an amazing family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think mental health, another thing that's positive is that it puts people together in a
Yeah.
certain unique, strong way and calming way. And it's a way of growing really loving heart, I think,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so my family's super, away from each other physically. Like my brother lives in Tokyo and my parents live in Bangkok. But I feel like we're all connected.
You're all connected. I wanna point out or mention that the video, right, and the experience of watching this water, right, so the way that I kind of absorbed this was the water was very calming and therapeutic, right, because it's kind of like it simulates rain, and to me, rain, especially growing up in the desert, is so sacred because we don't get it a lot. And so I just I'm listening to the water fall and it's very calming, and it's filling up these vessels at a slow pace, right? And for so long of that process, you're looking at it almost like this beautiful experience until the vessels can no longer hold the water, and then you experience this what you called a violent kind of destruction of the vessels. That is such a powerful visual, metaphoric example of what mental health is, right? It doesn't just happen right away. It's it's like a slow drip that just eventually pushes you to the point where you feel like you no longer want to live. And I think that's why it's so dangerous, because a lot of times we see it when it's at its worst and we think it just came out of nowhere. But if you really pay attention, it's a gradual kind of process. And so thank God that you exist and created this, because I think that's the first step, or one of the first steps, to opening up a dialogue that destigmatizes mental health, right?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for laying that out too.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to take every opportunity to showcase the topic, and in a way that's non harmful to anybody, because I don't intend to make anybody feel upset, because it is just a way of the matter right now is that suicide is one of the top leading causes of death, and it's a public health matter. So the more we don't talk about it, the more actually it's doing harm. And so my simple goal is to create art, but along the way, I like to share what I've been through and the positives of kind of living with mental illness, and talk about the things that are kind of not talked about, like the beauty that's associated with, just being a person. A lot of people.
I'm sorry. That's just are you familiar with hip hop at all? Do you listen?
I think I cannot hear the lyrics. I think that's just like an English language thing.
Oh yeah,
but I
sure.
love music. I just kind of hear it as sounds. But if you want to,
in hip hop, there's a thing like a rapper. When they say something really profound, they call it a bar. They're that's a bar, right? And what you just said right now was a bar, because it was there is so much beauty in just being a human. Right? The human experience to me is so crazy. When you really, really sit down and you think about everything that we experience as humans, and you zoom out, right? And you start to think about the universe and spirituality and God and like all these things, if you really think about it, it's crazy. Like the
Yep.
fact that we're here having a conversation
Yeah.
in the world is so normal to us, but it's because we don't think about how we don't zoom out enough, you know? And so, yeah, and I think artists and creatives, we have the luxury of living in that world, because that's, for me, what it takes to create is to be able to zoom out and to look from like the 50,000 foot view, and then take that and put it into some type of an art form. So anyways, I just wanted to say you just dropped a bar.
Oh, thanks. I did that.
You
didn't
did
I?
that. You did that. You absolutely did that.
Yeah, cool.
So where is the future for you? Like where do you go from now? I don't want to ask your age, but you look, like a young, individual. So where are you in the next 10 to 15 years in your perfect world?
In my perfect world, I like to be somewhere local. And
Okay.
so because of my upbringing, I've always, I feel like my soul always sought out for a land.
Okay.
To
Well, you wanted to be a
rooted
farmer.
Rooted to.
Either an artist or a farmer. Those are the
I
two
love
things.
gardening.
Yeah, of course.
So, but I still, I cannot stop blowing glass. I just love it so much. So, yeah, with all that said, I think LA is a really beautiful place where I feel like I should really spend time and be rooted.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have 2 young children right now, and then I just love the community there, who are always there to support and support each other. But anyway, I like the idea of just being sustainable and making a small change in the very local community. And it would be really amazing if it could go international or big. But then I also think about my family, think about the happiness of people who are around me, and what the life of a really busy, large, sophisticated organization, what that will do to my quality of life.
Yeah.
And so I think about scaling. As a business owner, I do learn about different things, and I like to keep learning, but I don't necessarily need to, I don't need to expand.
Yeah.
I need to be rooted. I want to be rooted. I want a garden.
Yeah.
I want some time. I want some happiness with my friends. And so I want to provide.
Yeah.
And so I want to take care of the people who are coming through the studio, and whether that be clients or students, or so in a small matter, find small happiness.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a profound way to look at life. I personally really struggle with working very, very hard to accomplish as much as I can accomplish in this world. And it's not all about money, but like I have big aspirations in terms of community development. And I know that you can only go so far on $0. So it's like, I want to make money so that I can deepen my impact. And in order to do that, I have to work extra hard. And I love my job, but there's times where it's hard because you're not deeply rooted. You're your roots. I think about, are you familiar with the Palo Verde tree by chance? Okay, so in Arizona, it's a phenomenon because they're really beautiful, right? They're the Palo Verde trees, and their roots are very shallow, right? But the base of them, they grow to be very big, and you can see them, right? And they're all over the place, right? And when we have these monsoon storms, we just had a massive monsoon storm like a couple days ago, and I went outside and just blocks of Palo Verde trees just falling over, right? And they always fall over, and it's because their roots are very shallow. And I think that sometimes the pursuit of greatness and excellence and accomplishing as much as you can accomplish it takes you away from the simple parts of life and making sure that your roots go deep so that you can weather the storm, right? And so I want to thank you for saying that, because I tend to forget that that's what really matters at the end of the day. Not if 1 million people listen to my podcast, but if 10 people listen to it consistently and they love it and they share it and it's inspirational, like that is just as important as 1 million people listening to it, right? In the grand scheme of things of peace. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's been a pleasure. I think that, and adding to the question that you were asking, I've been making work related to, suicide prevention and bipolar disorder, and that just kind of, just the wording makes your heart like kind of.
Oh yeah, crunch, it's heavy, yeah.
But I kind of want to start. I'm at a phase in my life where I'm more comfortable and I'm more free and I'm much happier. And I wanted to push myself to make work that is more fluid and more freeing and colorful.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that could be something that I've never really talked about it. So this is kind of like the first time I'm talking about it. But
that's exciting.
I think that's a pretty cool direction that I would probably want to pursue.
Yeah.
And I think it would still have the, topic of mental health, but in a different stage. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because mental health is a spectrum. And I think when you deal with mental health, you understand that it is a spectrum. And one of the things you said that you've said a lot of things. You've dropped a lot of bars, by the way, right? I just have to say that.
Oh, thank you.
But I think that one of the things you said early on is like you try to have a positive outlook on life. And sometimes that's hard when you're dealing with mental health. But I think it's important to paint both sides of the picture of mental health, not just the dark side, but what does it look like when you make it through the storm, right? Like when there's so many cliche like things I could say right now. It's like when you get through the storm, there's always the rainbow, but it's true, right? Like, so I look forward to that for you, because I think with your genius, when you start pushing it in that direction, it's going to be amazing, right? And it'll have such a big impact in the world. So I look forward to that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm really honored to be in the spaces that I'm in and to have conversations. And I told you this earlier. I tend to do as little research as I can, because I do want to have a genuine conversation. And for me, I just want to thank you, not just for bringing your gifts here to the City of Mesa and working with the museum, but just for being a good human. I can tell in just this small amount of time, like you are an exceptional human. So thank you for that. And I look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And so your exhibit is here at the Mesa Contemporary Art Museum. It will be here until the beginning of the new year, so around January. We will put all the details in the description below. But thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, and I look forward to meeting you again and seeing where your life goes.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Have a good one.
Yay. Bye.